but having them as clients is even better. So how do you convert them to clients? On this latest episode of Giant TV, I'm going to show you exactly how you do it. Let's go take a look. Hi, this is with Giant Jacks Media, and for jumping on Giant TV really here today, taking the time and very fun topic, how to convert media followers. I first want to tell you at the end of the station, I'm going to show you how to get my free sales and marketing box and get with me one-on-one, talk about your own business practice. I can't answer every single question here, too much but I give you a great high-level overview of this topic, but would love to learn more about your business and observations and recommendations on what you can do with your own business and with all of this I'm running. So look for that. Let's jump in with how. I want to break it down that way, and let's talk about when it comes to your and followers. Maybe obvious to you. I just want to mention this. So your connected followers are all those people that you're everywhere. So we're all watching this on LinkedIn, or maybe it's on YouTube, Facebook, restreaming, live platforms. But on LinkedIn, these are connections and followers. But you have a LinkedIn group. Maybe you have a Facebook group, or you're on TikTok and doing things there, Instagram. All those can be great channels in different ways. But just think of all your connections and followers as a group. Maybe you have an email, nurture campaign going. You have email subscribers. So just think of everybody as one group. And that's what I want to talk about today. When you think about these people, they've connected with you for a reason. You have piqued their interest. Be on LinkedIn, you send out an action request and they saw your profile stands out. They love what you look like. And so they connected with you. Maybe you have a common interest. You went to the same college, or you're in the same profession, or with prospects, you're putting out content that really speaks to them. So just remember, these are not just random people. Maybe you have never talked to them. You got a lot of connections to followers, but they did get with you initially for a reason. So that's important to just understand that. Okay, why? Let's talk about why having social media followers, especially on LinkedIn for us professionals, is important. Opportunity can come your way when you have a community of followers and connections. I mentioned speaking gigs. Maybe you like to speak publicly and virtual events or live. Well, there's opportunity, especially if you're focused on this and know how to reach out, know how to present yourself. There's an opportunity to get speaking gigs, and those can be great ways to not only build out your community even more, but convert through speaking and podcast guesting. This is a huge one. So we've got 3 podcast shows, and they've been great tools to get into conversations and convert. It's all about engagement. And podcast guesting, maybe you've been a guest on a podcast show, but there are people all over the place hosting podcast sites. Podcasting has exploded, as I'm sure you know, over the recent years, and people want guests on there. They want content, and they've got to fill spots. Again, if you're focused on this and reaching out and have a process for getting on podcasts, it's out there, and the opportunities are there when you have a bigger and bigger following of people and connections and so forth. So that can be a great channel. Conversations. So obviously we all want to be having conversations with prospects every single month. And when you have a bigger following, more interactive following, you're doing the right things, then there just is a chance to really blow up the opportunity to have ongoing conversations consistently every single month, and converting those conversations into demos and pitches and clients. And so the more of a community you have that you're interactive with, the more opportunity there is for good things to have happen to you. And I always tell people I'm working with, you want to have a very big community. Not every single person you're connected to is going to be a top prospect, but the more people you have, the more noise you are making, then the right people are going to find you. So just big group of people. And I say this too because think of real life. If there's noise going on somewhere, whether it's a really busy restaurant and you're trying to find a place to eat and you're driving down the street and there's a bunch of restaurants and one's got a lot of noise going on and lights are on, there's a buzz, you're attracted to that. There's noise going on there. That looks interesting versus a restaurant that's got crickets going on, nothing's happening, lights are off, the sign looks crappy, it's fallen down, letters are missing, whatever the case is, you're not going to want to go to that place. So this is why you want to have a big audience. More stuff happens, and there are very definitive ways to build out that audience. And I can't get into all of the ways to build out your community now. It's a different conversation, but the why is because opportunity comes your way. So let's talk about the how. First of all, how you build an audience and then convert. You got to have your personal brand looking airtight. Obviously, I'm ripping off the Jordan brand here that a lot of us are aware of, but you need to understand this. When you're building a practice and wanting to, make some noise, get in touch with people, conversations, convert, it all starts with your personal brand. And all of us have just a phenomenal opportunity today to develop and elevate our personal brand. And so if you don't have this, people are not going to be interested in you. Think about your brand. Think about real life. When you walk into a networking event, remember those after dinner and you're walking in there and you're showing up with your business cards. You're not going to go stand in a corner and wait for people to show up and meet with you. That's not going to happen. You can't also sit at the appetizer table, stuff your face, and expect something to happen. You got to get out there and engage, be proactive, put your best foot forward. You got to look great. You got to have all the bells and whistles going, and that's real life. It also is true on platforms like LinkedIn, where people are making decisions about you, and they're making decisions on whether they should even connect with you, let alone get on a phone call with you or buy your product or service. And so if your brand isn't elevated, you're not utilizing the tools that LinkedIn, for example, gives you to elevate your profile, then you're just behind the eight ball. You're really irrelevant. And I talk a lot with people about their brand, and that's a whole subset of a presentation, but just know that converting starts with a brand, your build, and all the things that flow from with your build and standing out come from your personal brand. You got to just use that as a calling card. And people are looking at you, LinkedIn's looking at you, LinkedIn's scoring you, and there's another conversation about your social selling index. So just brand, and your brand are things like, what's your messaging? Do you have a specific logo for your personal brand? What are the colors, fonts, the style that you want to portray with your brand? What is the messaging? What's your value proposition? What are you, doing? Who do you do it for? And why are you better than the next person? These are all things that go into your brand, and consistency across your platforms, whether you have YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, a podcast, content sharing, all comes back to your brand, and it's just tight and looking awesome. So a big branding discussion that I have with people, that's something to really make sure you got that down. Content is, when I talk about intentional content, what I see a lot of people doing is sharing other people's content. And when I say intentional content, you need to have a strategy behind your content. If you're not even doing content, you're not in the game. You're behind the eight ball. Forget about it. But so you have a content strategy. Most people share other people's content. Here's Warren Buffett top 10. Here's Richard Branson. Here's an article for Inc. magazine. Those things can be okay occasionally, but by and large, that's doing nothing for your brand and making you stand out as the authority figure and somebody who others should listen to. And that's what most people do. They share other people's content. Nobody even bothers to read it. Go on your LinkedIn newsfeed, look at the content other people are sharing. One person looking at it, no people, two. And a lot of people are paying for that content, or they're spending time to send it out, and it just isn't happening. And there's no call to action. And the content is just not helping their brand at all. Make sure I'm covering all the points here. And also with the content, the right people aren't seeing the content. So you may be sending out content, but are your prospects, the people you really want to engage with, are they even seeing it? And there are strategies to make sure people see your content. There's the use of tagging, for example, and having a process where you're tagging judiciously and professionally your top prospects when you have a killer piece of content that goes out there and they get notified and they see it. And also using groups for your content. So a little known secret on LinkedIn, for example, about groups is if you have a group and you are sharing content and you're inviting people to your group, captive audience, when you share a piece of content, you can recommend that piece of content in your group so that LinkedIn notifies your group that there's a new piece of content out there. They get a notification. So, human nature, they'll check it out. So there's strategies like that if you even have a content, process going on to make sure the right people see it. And those are great ways to do it. Tagging, using groups. Okay, let me keep going here. Email process for converting. Huge. And so again, this is a whole presentation, but I'm going to touch on some of the important things about email. Email is a great way to nurture, get in front of a ton of people in a consistent way. And the reason you do it, couple important ones. One is that the people that come into your funnel, right? You've made them aware of who you are. They got connected to you and you want to get on a phone call, you want to convert. 90% plus of these people that come into your funnel, top of the funnel is awareness, of course. Then you're trying to generate interest. Then you want to get on a phone call and you go down the funnel. 90% plus that come in on the front end for the best sales and marketing people on the planet are long-term prospects. They will not be converted in the short term. That's just not the reality of it for the best salespeople and marketing people on the planet. So you've got to have a way to nurture, stay in front of these long-term prospects. And email is a great way to do it. So the first step of this is, do you even have a process to gather emails? How do you gather emails? Landing pages or squeeze pages where you're making an offer, you're directing people to a landing page and you're grabbing the email. When somebody books a meeting on your calendar, I love Calendly. When somebody books, automate the grabbing of the email from the calendar confirmation and put it into your distribution process. And there's virtual events for gathering emails, doing an event, a monthly event, and a Zoom event, gathering the emails, getting them onto your nurture campaign. And so there just is a lot of ways. Lead generation campaigns is another one, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute, where you're reaching out, you're gathering emails, off LinkedIn. People put emails there, they're public, grab them, and you're getting them into your email process. So the first step of an email campaign is gathering them. The next step is, what do you do when you have them? And that's emails going out. And email's a big deal. You got to do it the right way. So when you're nurturing, trying to convert using email, this is not about see me, see me, see me, and how great you are, and all those things. It's not pitching. It is nurturing, and then building in calls to action in there, building in free strategy session, free coaching session if you're a coach, free tax planning assessment if you're a CPA or something like that, a giveaway. Maybe you have just a killer high level video you did on a very specific topic that they care about, your audience, and you're giving away that video. Or maybe it's a PDF that you put together that's very niche for your audience. They're going to care about it. It's not just fluff. So you're delivering that. And there's the call to action for a follow-up to that as they have questions, building in a call to action. You want to get away from just newsletters and stuff that people are going to throw away, that they're just going to delete. They're going to unsubscribe. And so you've got to really make this email process fantastic. It's got to be high value, calls to action, and inviting them to events you're doing, converting, all these things that go into it. And make sure when you're getting into email that you're crafting it properly. The copywriting matters a lot with email. This is going to help with conversions, is subject lines of emails. Those just matter a ton because you want people to open your email. First thing they see is that subject line. So there's a science behind what's the subject line of your email? Why are people going to open it? Then there's the copy of the email itself. Are you able to tell a story? And storytelling is important. You don't have to be a top journalist and write a 5-page email. It's storytelling and video, incorporating video storytelling, shooting a video and delivering your message that way within the email. So a lot of strategy behind email. It's a great conversion tool if you're doing it the right way. Okay, campaigns to connections. And this is really important. So think about your connections. And you may have connected with them, but you've never talked to them, or you don't have any outreach going on to your first level connections and followers to try to get them into a conversation. So let me give you some examples of how to have outreach going on high level to first level connections. So you could have an incredible event that you're doing. Let's say it's a monthly virtual event. And this is something I coach and work with people on. You got to have a virtual event going on. It's just a phenomenal tool to use to convert and to get awareness. And so let's say you're doing a Zoom event every month and you're integrating that with the LinkedIn event feature, right? And so you have high level content. Let's say that your audience that you want to work with are CEOs of companies. And you say, okay, I'm focused on working with CEOs who own companies, viable companies, a certain amount of employees and so forth. What do those CEOs care about? What are the hot issues for them? And so you really boil down those issues. Maybe it's a particular CEO of a profession. Let's say it's transportation, and your niche is I'm working with CEOs of transportation companies all over the world. And so now what do they care about? Maybe there's some issues going on in the shipping and trucking industries, and there's some new laws and regulations, and it's a hot issue, and you're addressing that issue in your monthly event. Maybe you have an expert from the business, or you're an expert, but the point is, that's a trending topic, they care about it. You have that monthly event going on, talking about that issue and the updates. And so now you are having an outreach to your first level connections in the shipping and trucking industry, inviting them to this monthly event. They care about the topic, and you've got an expert, or you're the expert on this, and it's a great event. It's virtual, Zoom. You create a LinkedIn event. I'm not going to go into how to do this because this is another discussion, but their LinkedIn event feature, we all have it, integrates with Zoom, and it's phenomenal and really, really great way to engage with your first level connections. But you invite them to this monthly event and you build a call to action in that event. So you have this event, people show interest with the LinkedIn event feature, you know who these people are, it shows up, and whether they show up to the event or not, because people flake, that's what people do, but some will show, but those who don't, you see them all. And now you can follow up and interact and convert and get on phone calls. So it's a great way to do it. You automate this process where you can with the inviting your first level connections. There's automation tools, certainly we use them. You can scale this, and it's a great way to build that out. So also you want to, before I get there, you want to, when it comes to outreach and campaigns to connections, you want to engage with your first level connections also on Sales Navigator. I'm going to focus on LinkedIn here again too, is are you proactively engaging with your first level clients on Sales Navigator? Are you spending 20 minutes a day to comment on their content and to ask them to get on a phone call? So I get into this with people all the time, is strategic ways to interact using Sales Navigator to first level connections. And LinkedIn is upgrading that platform all the time. Sales Navigator, they just recently upgraded it again. It's looking pretty sweet, and they make it very efficient and easy for you to network and interact with your first level connections. And some of the hot button issues there is all of us should be saving leads, create a lead list in Sales Navigator titled Top Prospects, and saving your top prospects into your lead list. When you do that, Sales Navigator starts to feed you information on that lead list. It can't be just a saved search, got to be a lead list. And on your home screen on Sales Navigator, you start getting information on these people, on what they're posting, if they're changing a job, if they, whatever's important to them that they're putting out there, you're seeing it. And so now you're able to interact and comment with that hot prospect list on Sales Navigator very efficiently. You could block out 30 minutes a day. You do this, you could hit, in a week, you could hit 100 people plus doing this and just having this built in. And it's about time blocking, being efficient, and so forth. So again, a lot more to talk about how to use Sales Navigator, recent updates. Encourage you to get with me on one-on-one. Happy to show you what I'm doing. So as I get to the end here, I just want to emphasize that having connections and followers is great. But if you have them just to have them, that isn't serving your purpose. You need to convert them. And people get caught up in vanity metrics and people are liking my stuff, they comment, and we all do it. We all get excited when somebody else likes our stuff, but does that help pay the bills? It doesn't. You've got to convert. So think about that and keep a focus on that. And here's what I wanted to show you at the end here. So my free sales and marketing toolbox, text Giant Help to that phone number. You'll be able to get that toolbox. It's a strategy session. I break down all the components of my toolbox. I go into detail on what I'm talking about here today and other pieces, and you can see that and you'll love it. I just, put a lot of time and effort into that. And through this text, you can also schedule a call with me. Let's get on a Zoom and let's talk about each other's businesses, get to know each other a bit, kick the tires, and let's start that conversation. So thank you for taking the time. Really enjoyed having you here. Keep an eye open for my next Giant TV episode. I do it every Thursday, 1 p.m. California time, and it's all about helping you in some way. We'll see you next time.